Hi guys, Chris here with Super Savvy Travelers, and I'm so excited because today we have James with us from PJ Cabos. PJ Cabos is a high quality Greek olive oil, and I wanted to take a moment to promote a little bit my course, and I haven't talked about it very much because we've been all about properties and everything. But before I started our property course, I did a little pilot course called Foodie's Guide to Decoding Italian Olive Oil. And in this course, I took a deep dive into olive oil and production and cultivation. I found a book by a guy named Dr. Bizzari that was written in the 1800s, and it had every single detail you could think of about olive oil growing and storing and production of the oil and how to ship it. I mean, the guy was a total olive nerd, and now I am too. So I'm going to put a link down to my course. It's more than just the course. You have the ebook, you have a recipe book, you get video recipes, you get Dr. Bizzari's book, which I translated from Spanish for you so that you could understand it. So enough about my course. Let's get started with James. Hi, James. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing great. Thanks. So, what's the weather like where you're at?
Well, it's pretty much springtime in the day. Only at night it goes down to, well, about 10 degrees Celsius.
Ooh.
That could be maybe 50 Fahrenheit, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
So
that's,
it's not too bad.
yeah, that's still pretty warm. That's awesome. So, let me ask you, whereabouts in Greece are you? Do you have a farm down there? What have you got going?
Yeah, so our land is located in the Western Peloponnese region of Greece. Peloponnese is really a man-made island, very large island. That's connected to the mainland by the Corinth Canal.
Yeah.
And our farms are actually located very close to ancient Olympia.
Oh,
Uh, so we have a lot of history in that area, and it's an absolutely beautiful location. It has great weather. It is quite humid, but it's year round. It's very green, and even in the summertime, when sometimes we get no rain for 2, 3 months.
wow.
Our area still is very lush, very beautiful, and that also, of course, helps the olive trees.
Mhm. Yeah, we were there 2 summers ago, I think. We went to Olympia, and it was just amazing, the history there. And you're walking on ground that people were up in that area. They've been there for so long.
Oh,
It's a beautiful historical place, and you could just feel the history when you're there. So I wanted to touch on some of your products, and this one, of course, we know about, which is just really good all around olive oil. And I use this one for the pesto, for drizzling, for things like that. But I think for me as a a house cook, like someone who cooks in the house, I'm not a chef. I can cook a few things. This is a game changer. And this is, let's see if I can, oh, it's backwards. But
yeah,
this is the chef's selection. And what
yeah.
I like about it is, I don't like having a daily olive oil that I buy from a big brand, because again, the olives come from who knows where, how long they've been there, we don't know. And if you use the super high quality ones, sometimes they burn. They're more expensive. This is the perfect solution for that particular situation of cooking.
Exactly.
Sometimes you don't want to use super expensive olive oil to cook something with. So I was just amazed and so happy that you came up with that concept. Can you expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, well, you're correct with that. The Chef Selection Classic, it is our most versatile extra virgin olive oil.
Mhm.
Now, what we've done as of this year, we're going to have three different taste intensities to cover all the needs. So, starting with the Chef Selection Classic, that's our most delicate tasting extra virgin olive. It's great because someone can use it over a salad. Someone can use it cooking at high heat, frying eggs,
Mhm.
whatever they wish, and it will perform very well. At the same time, it has a high number of phenols. From this year forward, the Chef Selection Classic is 280 plus milligrams per kilo of phenols, which is quite high considering the olive oils that actually, and I'm speaking for the American market, make it to the US. This is everyday extra virgin olive oil for the kitchen.
Yeah.
Our next label, and as you said, it's at a very good price too.
Yeah.
It's one of the lower priced products. Now, we offer this in a 3-pack, and we do that so in order to still preserve the oil as best possible in a small container, because we know that the biggest enemies of extra virgin olive oil are oxygen, heat, and light. Right. So if you have it in a large container, then it will take much longer for the oil to be finished. So it will be in contact with oxygen for longer. This way you can just open up the can and have a fresh batch, every 500 ml at a time.
Yeah.
So that's very important. The price aspect is very important, and it is a very good value for money.
Oh, it really is. Yeah. We were so excited when we saw that.
So the next label, the one that you first showed, is our Family Reserve. So that's our medium intensity extra virgin olive oil. That has quite high number of phenols. During production, we're speaking, as of this year, it will be 410 milligrams per kilos plus. So it could be between 410, 500, 450, around there. That's for someone who wants a little bit more intense tasting olive oil for various foods. It could be a salad. You could even cook fried eggs with it. The choice is yours. It basically comes down to personal preference of what you want to use in your foods. If you want more delicate tasting olive oil, if you want something a little more bitter and pungent. One of the good, a very big advantage that our extra virgin olive oil line has is that the Chef Selection Classic and the Family Reserves, the variety that we use, the Koroneiki variety, its tasting profile suits most foods. So you can use it, like I said, for salad, for eggs, for lamb. And at the same time, you can use it, you can sprinkle it over some dark chocolate or make sweets with it, make cakes with it, and it turns out very, very nice. So basically what separates our products is the intensity level, the taste intensity. And obviously, if someone wants to have, with consuming less fat, more phenols, then you go for the more intense labels. And this brings me to our third label that as of this year, our Family Reserve Organic, and I have it right here actually. Ooh. It's in this elegant glass bottle, which is actually painted. There's no paper label on it. This is going to be our medium robust, and the phenols are 720 milligrams per kilo. So very high. With just a spoonful, you get loads of the good stuff. For people who want to have a spoonful a day for, good health, many doctors suggest this for various purposes. And you use it for food, over salads, for more intense tasting food, fried vegetables, lamb, or anything you want. I really enjoy having a small tasting session before I do my exercise every day with it. It seems to give me a nice boost while doing so. Yeah. And at the same time, it leaves a great taste in my mouth.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I had never thought of actually sipping olive oil until I started tasting it, and it really is nice. And, with fats, it tends to, for me, it tends to even out my blood sugar level a little bit. I don't get as hungry, when I have a lot of olive oil in my diet. And I'm looking forward to your more robust one, because I really do love the bitter, and I love the spicy. I love everything that has to do with a lot of that. So we're looking forward to that as well.
I can say our Family Reserve Organic is a firecracker.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it really livens up everything in the mouth. So
Oh,
I believe you'll enjoy it a lot.
yeah, that sounds really good. So,
Yeah,
so what kind of climate? I mean, olive trees apparently seem to do best in the Mediterranean climates. Is that right?
exactly. Yeah. Although nowadays you can find olive trees in quite a few places around the world. But yeah, I mean, their origin is in the Mediterranean climates. Our area in California as well, over in the US.
Mhm.
That's why you see quite a few olive trees, olive farms coming up here and there in California too. But yeah, they all originated from this area, and you can find quite frequently trees that are hundreds, if not thousands, of years old here. And yeah, they're quite resilient. They're quite resilient, these olive trees. They're something amazing. They really are.
They are. They are. And I always get the feeling of longevity when I look at an olive tree because you're right. I mean, many of them are really, really old, and it's just amazing what they've been through.
Exactly. And to think that, these trees, they can last, months, like 2, 3 months, even without water, and
Mm.
still give us beautiful fruits at the end of the summer, toward the autumn. And that's something really amazing. Yeah, these trees, you can pretty much leave an olive tree to itself, yeah, on a rocky mountain, and it will produce fruit. And I mean, that's something great.
Yeah, yeah, that really is amazing. So, obviously, this is your passion. How did you come into this type of work? What made you get started in it?
Well, of course, it's yeah, although I am the founder of PJ Gabos, the company.
Yeah.
However, the history goes back to my great grandparents
Mm.
when they moved down in the area 100 and some years ago. And what they actually first planted were vineyards. So they were making wine for the family and for friends. But around 60, 65 years ago, my grandparents decided to switch over and they planted olive trees instead. And these are the olive trees that we're taking care of now and that give us this beautiful extra virgin olive oil.
Mm.
So this was something that has provided my family and friends with our extra virgin olive oil every year for all these decades. And I actually wanted to get involved even as far back when I was in junior high school. But because we lived in Athens, which is about a 3.5 hour drive from the olive groves, where in Greece, 3.5 hours, 4 hours, you can go pretty much from one side of the country to the other. So it's not like in the States. It's considered a long way here.
Yeah.
So my father was very busy. He is a physician, so he wasn't able to travel that much. He wasn't able to take us down there as much as we'd like to. But I did have this love for the olive groves and for this product in me for a very long time.
Mhm.
So it was back in 2013 that I finally decided to start this company and make it official and try to get our product to every corner of the earth, if possible, to make this my primary work and live my family off of this, and hopefully my daughter and her family will be able to continue the legacy of PJ Gabos and of this family history.
Oh, that's lovely. So, I have your product here. I want to show it to everybody. This is the one that we initially tried first. This is the one. I think you saw the video. We had just gotten it from Amazon in our
I
bag.
did. I just stumbled upon the video. We hadn't spoken before until then. I think you spoke with my mother, who was doing the social media for us,
Yes.
and then I saw the video, and I sent you an email thanking you for that. It
Yeah.
was really great to see it.
Yeah.
Thank you again.
it was just a really off the cuff video. We had just received it. And, I did my course, my little foodie's guide to decoding Italian olive oil, but we saw yours on Amazon. We're like, ooh, we have to try it. And we just basically opened it up in the backyard as soon as we received it. So it's so funny that that little video came to you and then you came to us. And I just love the way that worked out.
Amazing. And to think, I mean, most of these bottles, probably the one that you're holding, I'm the actual one who put the tap on it back at the factory. It really is a family, it's a family business, and we really care for this product, and it is, it's very, it's such a compliment for us that you welcome us into your house, into your kitchen as well through our products.
Yeah, well, it is a really fine product and we just love it. In fact, I wanted to point out, because in my course, I go over this, you've got the dates right here. I don't know if anybody can see that. So, when we purchase, not generic products, but products from a big label, many times on the back of the thing, they go, well, they come from Tanzania, they come from Spain, they come from wherever. And, you don't know how long those olives the olive oil has been sitting in vats waiting to be transported, and you just don't know. But with your particular situation, it's family owned. This is the date, isn't it? Is it the date that they were pressed or the date that they were?
Correct. The date that they were harvested, which is the date that they were pressed, because we always press our olive oils the same day that we harvest the olives. That is part of our specifications, actually a way to achieve our specifications for our extra virgin olive oil and the high quality. It's very important to be pressed the same day. So that is something very good for people to know, that it's the current harvest, as opposed to it was harvested a few years ago. It's a very good indication of the quality that someone will receive. Yeah,
that's what we've noticed too. And, the fact that you have to have it. From my research is it's after about a few months, it's not quite as good. What's your recommendation on that? I mean, at what point is the olive oil not quite as good or starting to go rancid or turn?
Well, that really depends on the olive oil. And if you start out with a good quality olive oil that is high in antioxidants, polyphenols, that's very important. However, there has to be a balance there, because an olive oil with a very large amount of polyphenols is also going to be bitter and pungent. So you have to get the right balance there. I would say probably the olive oil is at its best around until after 1 year of when it was produced. However, if it's an olive oil that is very low in phenols, it could be even 3-4 months after harvest, it can start going off. That is a fact. It's good to know that it is the fresh harvest. So that way the chances are that you're going to get something good, at least if you're very close to the harvest dates, that's the case.
Yeah, that's what we found too. Now, is it possible, I know this is not meant to be an all-day video, but if you could sort of take us from the beginning of the process, the growing of the olives all the way through to the end, just as sort of a snapshot of what exactly is entailed in that whole process.
Yeah, of course. Well, like I said before, the olive trees, they're quite resilient, and one can really just, leave them to their fate, so to say, each year, then see come September, October, what fruits it will bear and in what condition. However, because we're not just looking into making olive oil, we want to make extra virgin olive oil. So there is a lot of care to be done throughout the year. Now, we always prefer to use organic methods of farming, maintaining the trees. Like if we need to fertilize the trees, we prefer natural compost from various either branches that were cut and then afterwards they were put in the chipper. So then with time, it becomes a natural compost for the grounds. So there's all sorts of care to be taken during the year. eliminating threats such as the olive fly. That's something else that needs a lot of attention because you can get your crop destroyed from the olive fly if you're not careful. If it's a year when the fly is active. So there also we prefer organic methods of fighting off that problem. And the main goal is to get to harvest time and the olives to be as pristine as possible, so that there are no holes in the fruit, that they haven't gone rotten on the tree, because that is a very important factor in making the quality that we want. After that, the magic is done pretty much in one day, I would say. When you harvest the olives, by harvesting them the correct way, making sure the fruit stays intact and it's not stepped on by the workers, for example, during harvest, or even stored for a long time. Like I said before, they have to be, the oil has to be extracted from the olive fruit in the same day if you want to achieve that quality with no defects. So then at the mill, as extra virgin olive oil, the term suggests that there's absolutely no chemicals involved in extracting the olive oil from the olive fruit. And of course, no high heat is used to do that also. Otherwise, it wouldn't be extra virgin olive oil.
Right.
So, you just have to make sure all the machines are perfectly clean. We have either myself or my wife, we're sitting there and watching the olives before they go into the crusher, making sure to pick off any sticks and twigs that might have gone into in and amongst the olives, just to keep everything as pure as possible. So literally, we oversee the entire process, especially so for our family reserve labels. And then, of course, the correct time in the malaxer, where the olive paste is gently kind of massaged, I would say it, so that the olive oil droplets combine. So then they can be extracted via centrifugal force. So it's not, we don't use presses. We use the centrifugal force, which is the best way to do this. In essence, because the olive oil, the water, and the dry matter of the olive, the three components that make up the olive fruit, they have different weights. So when the machine is spinning at high speeds, they all get extracted in a different exit of the machine.
Oh, wow.
So that's how we get the extra virgin olive oil. And then you get the olive paste coming out from the other exit of the machine, which can then be used for compost and various other fertilizers.
Oh, that is amazing because, my research for my little course was a guy named Dr. Bazari. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he wrote a book in 1800 something, and it was in Spanish. And back then, I think they were using baskets, and then they would squish it and it would come out in the basket. So things have come a very long way since Dr. Bazari wrote his book.
Having said that, I would like to mention that something relevant. My grandfather, actually my father remembers his father, so my grandfather, being very proud of the olive oil when it came out with 1 acidity. So now 1 acidity, it's higher than the limit for extra virgin. It has to be under 0.8.
Right.
And but with the machines that they used to use back then with the press, and they didn't have the technology that we have now. Right. An olive oil coming out with 1 acidity was something to be proud of, whereas now, you wouldn't dare classify that as extra virgin. So, it's come a long way. But, even after the oil is extracted, it doesn't stop there. The best thing is to filter the oil immediately through just simple paper filters, take out any impurities, because what happens is the olive oil looks very nice and it tastes very nice, of course, coming out of the machine right when it's being produced, and it has that very rich green color. However, if you bottle that, it can start to go off a lot sooner than if you have filtered the oil.
Okay.
So that is very important, and we always try to do that immediately. And then, of course, store the oil properly, so it doesn't have any contact with oxygen, light. So in stainless steel containers, we use nitrogen gas when necessary, so that when the containers are emptied, the nitrogen tanks, the gap is filled instead of oxygen with nitrogen, so that the oil doesn't go off in the actual storage tanks.
Wow. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
So it's an entire process, and every single step is important because every single step can eliminate whatever you have done in the previous steps.
Right.
So everything is indeed important, right down to storing the olive oil correctly at the consumer's house.
Exactly.
When the customer buys it, it's very important to store it properly, away from heat and light.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a big thing, and that can make your olive oil last longer.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't think, one of the reasons I did my little course is because I knew nothing about olive oil, and I thought, gosh, I love it so much. We should really study up on it. So that's a good thing to point out is what can you do at home to extend the life of your olive oil, to make sure it's always pristine and good.
Exactly.
So you've touched a little bit on the olive fly. I remember as I was researching, there was an article from some olive farmers, and some of the challenges were really, you don't think about it. You think, well, olive trees, they just last forever. They do whatever. But there are some pretty big challenges. And one of them, I think, was the olive fly. And then there was something else about, I don't remember what particular blight it was at that time, but it was important. So do you want to touch on some of the challenges that you run into as a farmer of olives?
Yeah. Well, the most important, and this is something that everyone can relate to, is the climate change. Yeah. Because in our area, up until, I would say, a couple of decades ago, in the wintertime, it would get quite cold. The temperatures would go close to freezing, if not a little bit under, which is good in the aspect that the tree needs that. It needs its chilling hours in order to perform best with the next harvest. But also that helps eliminate any pest problems like the olive fly.
Yeah.
So because if it's very cold in the wintertime, it's going to help reduce the population. Mm-hmm. So back quite a few years ago, like I said, a couple decades ago, they didn't really need to do that much in terms of pest control as much as they do now. Mm-hmm. Because like I told you before in the introduction, we get 20 degrees Celsius, over 20 degrees Celsius in the day, which are spring and fall temperatures. Mm-hmm. And this is supposed to be the coldest time of the year. Mm-hmm. So that's very worrying, for the future and how everything will progress. So the same equal amount of weight has the summertime, where years ago, I remember it got very hot in the summertime. It would be close to 40 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's I would say around 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the summertime for quite a long period of time, mm-hmm. which that also helps with eliminating the olive fly population. And this is something sometimes we don't get certain years lately. So there is a need to monitor the populations of the olive fly and take action wherever it is necessary. And like I said before, we prefer the organic methods, using the various traps that you can set on the trees, or even spraying with, it's called kaolinis in Greek. It's like a natural chalk, and it actually makes the trees white when you cover them with it. So that works as preventative. So the fly doesn't really recognize that that's indeed the olive fruit that it wants to lay its eggs in. So it doesn't even come there. It's quite a nice method because it at the same time it helps keep the olive tree's temperature lower than what it would normally be because of the white color, and it will reflect the sun much more.
Wow.
So yeah, but you have to monitor the populations at all time because especially with the organic method of taking care of this, you have to do it on time. It's very important.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it could wipe out your whole crop for the season. Is that right?
Easy, easy. And if not, wipe it out. It could create damage to the fruit, the olive fruit. And then other bacteria, fungus can start working wherever the fruit has been damaged. And then most definitely what you're going to produce will be virgin olive oil at best, if not, industrial oil, which has happened in recent years quite a lot in comparison to the frequency that would happen in the past. So, that is a big challenge that people are facing now, farmers are facing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the industrial oil, once you start adding heat and chemicals, then it becomes industrial. Is that right?
Well, each extra virgin olive oil, and the pumice oil, all these categories, they have various chemical limits that each category has to have. So even straight from the fruit, from the tree, and if you make the oil with the correct process at the olive mill, you could get industrial oil. You could get an oil with 3 or 4 acidity, which is not edible. Yeah. So then afterwards, that goes to the factories that they use chemicals, heat to also to deodorize the oil so that it can be used for various other uses. But that's not something that I'm really an expert of. But it's very important. It's very important.
Yeah, there's so much to it. Now, did you have to study to do what you're doing, or did you, for example, learn at your grandfather's knee? How did you get trained to do what you're doing? Because it's a lot of data, a lot of information.
It is. Truth be told, I do have some very good farmers who take care of our trees as well. They prune them. They have a lot of experience. Yeah. My family has been using them, working with them for many years. But I did. I've attended seminars, taken courses, everyday experience with the olive trees and the olive oil. The most important factor for me, which it has the greatest effect on PJ Cabos as a company, is the tasting of the olive oil. So I have really put my personal emphasis on organoleptic tasting. So I've gotten my olive oil sommelier diploma. Every olive oil label that we bottle, I have personally tasted it to make sure it abides to our specifications, organoleptically and chemically. So that is the aspect where I spend most of my time. That and the customer service. If any customer has a question, chances are that they're going to get an email from me trying to assist in any way possible. I believe that's very important for a small boutique brand, especially such as ours, so that customers know that they can actually speak with, our label is called PJ Cabos. PJ are my initials. Yeah. And at any time, I'm available for people to ask any questions that they have.
That is fantastic. It's my thought and my observation that, the wine is a big deal, the Tuscan wine, the Italian wine, this and that. I think that is, people love wine, but I think it's now starting to become olive oil is the new thing that you have tastings and that you are into, because there's so much to it. And honestly, to me, it's just the basis of cooking or preparing food. You know, if you have great olive oil, and this is something we learned after we did our tastings and everything else, it really is the difference between a great dish and an okay dish. For example, I have this pistachio pesto that I make all the time. And I was making a dish and I didn't have any basil. So I went to Costco and I got their pesto, and it's just a night and day difference. You know, if you use a really good olive oil and fresh garlic and fresh basil and everything else to make your pesto, the difference is just, like I said, the difference between a dish that I wouldn't even say anymore that it was okay. It wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And a really spectacular dish. So yeah, so important. Is there anything else that you want to say? We've touched on everything we wanted to touch on and got some really great information. Is there any other message for the viewers or anything you want to communicate?
Well, for starters, to any of our customers, already existing customers, I would really like to thank everybody. I've been in contact with literally thousands of our customers over the last few years. And, you know, it's a real honor for me to be able to make this product. And, you know, I thank everyone for welcoming us into their kitchen. And anybody who has any question for PJ Cabos products, they can directly contact us by our website. And like I said before, chances are I'm going to get back to them personally.
That's wonderful. So we got our first taste of PJ Cabos on Amazon, but can we order directly from your website?
Yes, it's available through the website, www.pjcabos.com, and through our Amazon store. People, they have a selection wherever each person prefers to order from. You know, it's going to be the same product. So people can rest assured that when they order PJ Cabos, they're going to get a product that I personally stand behind. And like I said, I'm open to any questions at any time.
That is wonderful. I love the idea that you taste everything, that you really go for consistency of quality. And I really do think that that's what makes a brand maintain its reputation and its greatness just forever. So,
Exactly.
So yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. I know it was a bit of a thing to try to get us together, but I'm so happy that we did. And we love your olive oil. We recommend it to all of our guys, and we will put all the details in the details section down below so that the people watching this know where to go to, you know, to look on your website to see maybe pictures or whatever is there and to order your products. So thank you so much for joining us. It's really been lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk soon.